What exactly would you say if your child looked up at you and asked you about God and if He exists and if He's true, and wondered what would happen when someone dies? Is there a heaven? And what about that man up on the cross? Am I forgiven? How exactly would you answer those hopeful little eyes when you're college educated and convinced it's all a lie? Sure, you went to Sunday school when you were young, but that was then. You're above those simple thoughts now. The only God you know is man. Are you saddened and ashamed to tell this little soul that you don't believe in anything and have no reason and no hope? There's no heaven and no meaning. There's no purpose to our lives. That you believe we're just evolved, random mutations come alive. You know better than an insect, son, and when you die, that's it. I've learned through education that good and bad just don't exist. It's all just evolution. It's survival of the fittest. And we can get you a prescription when your life becomes depressed. I'm sorry that I've crumbled all your hopes and all your dreams, but it's time you realize that life's not what it seems. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? Have you replaced all that was real for a life of benefits and created your own truth? A happy atheist. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? And you replaced all that was real for a life of benefits and created your own truth. A happy atheist. You realize your answers could just shatter all these dreams and everything that ever mattered to this precious little being who had belief in certain peace and received that inner voice inside his conscience, and his conscious mind believed. And it sickens you to think, cause you've been driven by your ego and your greed, and he sees it. You don't practice what you preach. You've lost your dignity and you've succeeded in destroying all belief and defeated all his real hopes and dreams. They might never be retrieved, and the flame within his heart almost completely is extinguished, and the holes within his soul are filled with mimics, and the message of God's grace within his mind has been diminished, because the answers that you gave him took a piece of his existence, and the power of your words were unforeseen, and in that very moment you destroyed the very purpose of his being. And now he's lost, he's alone, and he's convinced that life does not make sense, and he's forgotten that God even exists. He's replaced all that was real for a life of counterfeits and created his own truth. A happy atheist. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? Have you replaced all that was real for a life of counterfeits and created your own truth? A happy atheist. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? And you replaced all that was real for a life of benefits and created your own truth. A happy atheist.
Destined for this time and age, bringing the message with solutions that prepares a way. While we're still human, moving closer towards the judgment day, they have invaded, grooming sheep unless they set the stage. I fear no evil, I got Jesus my deliverer. I've been forgiven, saved, no longer a prisoner. I've been redeemed, made, I'm an alien, a visitor. That's right, I'm freed, I'm remade with the signature. Got a new vision, I've been saved because his son is risen. It's a decision that was made to send me on this mission, exposing lies and proclaiming truth without no fear. We see the signs of the times and we shout it clear. Unfolding prophecy that's obviously happening, erupting rapidly, it's absolutely baffling. We cannot panic even if they plan a whole pandemic. We knew eugenics was a scam to hybridize genetics. Needed a lie to unite the world to all obey. They've always tried throughout time to change our DNA, paving the way for the Antichrist and one world government with sheeple lining up to take the mark. They're loving it.
What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know's been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know's been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling.
The truth is exclusive, it's not relative, it's absolute. It's undisputed, it's been proven, there's no substitute. Conclusive facts are now offensive in our current times. You'll get attacked if you attempt to shift a paradigm. You can't relax enough to share your mind or even have a thought. You might get bullied by the left, acting like robots. Automatons that respond like they're human pawns. Virtue signaling their masks toward Babylon. In every area we're seeing mass hysteria, and not just in America but everywhere. We're staring in the face of Armageddon as we're heading towards apocalyptic waters that we're treading toward America's dead end, producing misanthropic modern day demonic like embodiments, modifying their minds, their bodies and environments, censoring anything that's offensive into the narrative, threatening anybody whose actions are not affirmative. So what's the real message we're seeing from these progressives? If you don't agree with them, then they get violent and aggressive. Essentially what they're doing is making people submissive, till eventually beliefs and opinions won't be permitted.
What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know's been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know's been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling.
Open your eyes, hear the warning call. The great divide on both sides, and the lies told big and small. But unified we will never fall. With Jesus Christ on our side, we're like watchmen on the wall. His word was given as pre-written future history, and can be counted on with confidence and certainty. Not poetry or allegory in its own category. Absolutely, positively, it's his story. For everything there is a season. There comes a time to serve a purpose that is planned out for a reason. When evil needs to be defeated, we must unite and come together and even fight if it be needed. Ready for anything, prepared for coming prophecy. It's like we're living in the movie Idiocracy. No second guessing, I got weapons, I got ammunition. Both in the spiritual and physical, I have a mission. Protect my faith and my family from the opposition. I'm not afraid to take a stand and make a split decision. I know my rights, I know the law, so don't you tread on me. Won't turn my cheek if you try to take my liberty.
What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know's been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know's been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling.
We live in a world where many people are influenced. They listen to demons constantly. That's what's influencing them. They don't even understand. They think it's their own mind and their own thoughts, but they don't understand that there's demons speaking to them and leading everything they do. That's why the only way to break free is to follow Jesus. Because the whole world is in this spiritual evil darkness. And they're constantly being influenced by forces that they don't see.
I have this reoccurring dream, I'm on a battleground. With bullets whizzing by my head, the bombs are all around. I'm trying to fight the enemy, but they're invisible. No place to run and hide, extremely inhospitable. A barren land that's treacherous and perilous. Malicious villains all around me that are merciless. It's a hazardous environment that's sinister. I feel like Jonah in the whale, like I'm a prisoner. And just like him, my weapons are not physical. My arsenal consists of is it a spiritual? I got a slinging stone to face all of my giants. Even if I'm all alone, trapped in a den of lions, I can count on God to get me out of anything. I can trust His word over absolutely everything. No matter what the battle is, He is more powerful. Shatter any obstacles thought to be impossible. He can humble nations who think they are infallible. Crumble city walls like in the days of Jericho. You want a fighting chance? Then dig into the biblical. This battle's for your own eternal soul, and the time is getting critical. Sometimes life is just like on the movie screen. Sometimes life is just like in a scary dream. Sometimes life is thinking what comes after death. Cause sometimes life is taking in your last breath. Sometimes life is just like on the movie screen. Sometimes life is just like in a scary dream. Sometimes life is thinking what comes after death. Cause sometimes life is taking in your last breath.
Hello, happy Thursday, and welcome to Creative Chaos. For a change of pace, I don't think I have anybody in YouTube yet saying what is up to me, but I did see over on Pilled that we have Maven popped in and gifted us a can right there at the beginning during our opening band, who I have to also say thank you to. If anybody was here early, you saw Destiny Lab, a few pieces from them. And yeah, so thank you to our opening house band, and thank you to Maven for the can. And then coming in behind her is Q-Boy for Life on Pilled, gifting the cookie. And then he said, "Which song is this?" I don't know which one you were referring to, but you can find Destiny Lab on YouTube, and I believe that is in the description of the video as well. He's got a lot of stuff over there on his YouTube, so you can check him out over there. Anyway, hello, welcome to Creative Chaos, and I think I heard that my sidekick Batman is here. Let's see if he'll come out.
Hello, hello, hello. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Oh, look at you. You are all dressed and super fancy for Florida, because that's where you are.
Yes, it is. And we just got back from dinner. I thought we'd get back in time, but my sister and brother-in-law took us out to a Mexican restaurant for dinner, and we just got back to the house. So I'm a little late, but I wanted to make sure I was here in time for the opener.
I love the disembodied arm, by the way.
Yes. Mi novia.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to meet her hand. And yes, it looks like you're driving. And from
I'm
what I
backing into
recall,
the garage. I'm backing into the garage.
from what I recall, you got a ticket last week, or you got pulled over for swerving.
I got pulled over. I didn't get a ticket, but I got pulled over. Yes.
Well, good for you for talking your way out of that one. For swerving like a drunk Batman. All right, so are you just popping in to say hello? Or are you sticking around for a bit, or what?
No, I'm sticking around for the whole show. I just had to get into the house to do so. So you may not see me on screen for a few minutes because I got to set up my tripod, but I'm here. I'm listening.
All right, cool. So for your segment,
is that a cat? That
yes,
just cut in front of
dude.
screen?
I'm happy because he got off the chair, because I was perched on the edge, and now he's probably going to do circles around my front monitor. So enjoy. You'll see my big fat cat Sunny Butt. Yep, there he goes. Yeah, you probably want some chicken. And I'm thinking that we probably lost connection with Batman, and we'll probably see him. And oh, there he goes, in through the house. But Batman, what I was thinking is that we will let you get settled and then bring you in for your segment in maybe 5 minutes?
Give me 3, but yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we'll do the segment in 5 minutes. And but before you go, what do you have to ask people that happen to be watching?
If you guys are out there watching us right now, please like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up on Rumble, and make sure you click that red pill just so you can give the algorithm a little bit of a boost for us. We would greatly appreciate it. And did I forget anything? Ring the bell, hit the thumbs up, and subscribe. Yeah, that's it. Subscribe.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the other side in a few minutes.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And then I'm just going to check chats again. I need to learn how to organize my chats better. And it looks like a Madness Comic Network came over and dropped the regular invitation for anybody that has a show that would like to be part of the Madness Entertainment Group, which my awesome producer happens to be part of as well. You would contact at Madness Comic on X and Pops Van Zant on the Facebook, Pops. That's weird. Email him, pops at the meg.tv as well. Alrighty, so that's my Madness chat. And RJ William popped in and just said, hail, what is up? RJ checking in over on the Madness. And I'm going to check. Nobody else popped in. Yeah. My chats are very disorganized. I'm not you guys in chat, but just me. And then the Devastator and George Washington X popping in saying what's going on over on the YouTube. George is concerned about Batman's back and asking how the surgery go. We can maybe talk about that when he gets back. And he said, thumbs up. So I'm thinking that he might have made that thumb blue. And then let me see if I can get over to Rumble, see if anybody checked in. Nope, not yet. All right. So as everybody knows, Flip City Magazine sponsors Creative Chaos. We do this to hopefully bring some joy to you via YouTube, Rumble, and Pilled at the moment. I think we'll add a couple more eventually. But we really do it because we want you to appreciate the awesomeness that is Flip City Magazine, just like Joey B. Tunes does. And I've got a video for you because he shouted us out the other day.
Get a load of this guy. I got to shout out Flip City Magazine for the 6-page spread they did with me. Full interview. They got a bunch of my cartoons in here. This is the wildest magazine you're ever going to see. I mean, look at this. Here's some of my stuff in here. Look at this stuff. They got a whole spread here on all the different types of Americans that live in this country. I mean, look at this. What kind of magazine features people who wait in line at all-you-can-eat buffets?
And what he kind of highlighted there was a piece by Nat Rain, kind of newer contributor to Flip City Magazine. So thank you, Nat, for making a piece that Joey particularly liked and wanted to show off. And anybody that's interested in supporting independent print media like Flip City Magazine, you can go to flipcitymag.com and pick up a copy for yourself, or even better, subscribers are my most favorite people in the entire world. So you would go to flipcitymag.com and check us out. There's even a free magazine if you don't know what we do or haven't seen any of our content. We've got a free magazine right there on our website. All right. So I think it's time to bring our guest in. And I have got, our guest is a multimedia guy that focuses a lot on film. And I've got a piece of his to show you before we bring him in.
Sure as shit ain't no deer.
Fuck. That's some scary shit, Gray.
Not as scary as the thing that killed it.
That scarier thing you're talking about Probably sleeps during the day, though, right? Grayling? Gray. Gray. Here we go with the ignoring me shit again.
What's up, Nate?
Hi.
Hey, everybody. This is Nathan Quinn, and he is our guest tonight. And we're here to talk, I think, mostly about Necroland, which we saw a little piece of it right there before we brought him in.
Yes, but I'm also in the junk tank. So it's not all flashy like it usually is, but the junk tank is our sister project. So we'll talk a little bit about that. You've been on there.
Oh, look
Lars.
at. I'm assuming you might have attracted Lars over to the Creative Chaos stream.
Yes, yes. I'm guilty of been busy and I haven't told a lot of people to go here. Not that people will, because people are like, oh yeah, sure. I'll be there for you. And then of course. Thanks, Lars.
Thanks for showing up, Lars. I hope you stick around and enjoy the entirety of Creative Chaos because I don't think Nathan knows what he got himself into.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk a lot about Necroland because Necroland definitely has the backstory. You know, it definitely has a lot of the years behind it and the mileage behind it.
Well, and that's something I think that we're going to focus on a lot, but something that we do like to do, and this is actually Batman's segment. It's a way that over here on Creative Chaos, we like to get to know our guests. So, Batman, are you ready to do your segment?
I am. I'm just going to turn off my background effect. And there we go. Okay.
That's a big blue wall.
All right, there you go. So I just have to ask you, good sir, are you a fanboy like we are? We're all fanboys here. We have our specialties. We're going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Yep.
And we're going to ask you to just give it the best quick answer you come up with. Okay, real important. Sure. All right. So first and foremost, your favorite character from anywhere, from any medium, anything. Character.
Judge Dredd.
Ooh, nice. Okay, I like it.
Joseph Dredd.
Got it. Very cool. Very cool. Okay.
And drawn by Brian Bolland.
Ooh, okay. Well, that was the next question. Your favorite artist at any medium. So you've pulled that one out real quick too.
Well,
unless you need somebody else.
Billy Tucci is a friend of mine, so he's the fastest, awesome artist I know, but sorry, Tooch, I think probably George Perez.
Ooh. Yeah, Billy Tucci's a neighbor of mine down in Long Island, New York.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the Tucci and I have been buddies for about 15 years because of the convention circuit.
Gotcha. Ask him where he likes to
leave
his dog. What's that? Ask him where he likes to get his dog groomed or where he likes to leave his dog. His wife takes it to My Pet Hotel.
That's the first question I'll ask him on X tomorrow.
Yeah. Where do you take your dog in Deer Park? Okay. Your favorite food, sir. Your favorite food.
Breakfast, anything. Probably breakfast burritos.
Nice. Okay.
I like a good croissant sandwich.
Breakfast, anything though. Croissant, biscuit, cheese, egg, sausage, stuff.
There you go. Yeah, I'm a breakfast man too. I like my eggs. serious home fries. So yeah, with a nice crunchy English muffin slathered in butter.
Yep. Because
There you
I
go.
love my morning food because I'm not a morning person.
Ah, yeah, that's all right. I usually don't have breakfast till like 10, 11 o'clock anyway, so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
My dinner plans are made now. I'm having breakfast for dinner.
Sweet. Sweet.
Well, we're in the future. I just got done having dinner. Remember, I'm East Coast, you're West Coast.
That's right. And
All
you
right.
guys know how I am. I backstage, I'm like, I gotta go. I'm starving.
Right.
Your favorite drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, it doesn't matter. Your favorite drink.
Probably I like so many. Probably like some kind of like chocolate milk, some kind of, chocolatey, milky chocolate milk. Fuck it.
Do you have a favorite brand of chocolate you like to add to your milk?
I always get a big bin, like a $15 bin off of Amazon of Nesquik.
Okay, there you go.
I know some people be like, fuck you, Hershey's is better, but I'm like, no, Nesquik.
Nesquik's delicious. Nesquik's delicious. I
Powder.
agree with you.
In fact, I just had a big glass with my chicken that I made.
There you go. All right. Not very kosher, but it still works.
Yeah.
Hey, just gotta let you know that George Washington X likes Yoo-hoo.
I used to like Yoo-hoo too, but they changed the ingredients. Now it's watered down. I don't know what they did to it, but I used to drink Yoo-hoo back in high school and college all the time. I used to bring it to college with me because you couldn't get it upstate New York where I went to school. So I would buy a case of it and bring it up with me whenever I'd come home. But yeah.
I've never had it. Not in the entirety of my life.
Yeah, you're not missing much now. They changed the flavor and the taste. But what was the last one? I'm forgetting. Music. Oh, your favorite band or favorite type of music?
Number one is the Beatles, which is kind
all right. Rapid fire.
If you're a human being, it's got to be the Beatles. But probably my favorite band of all time is the Police and Sting, and then Rush, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Faith No More.
Wow, that's a broad spectrum. I like it. Very cool.
Honorable mention is Clutch and Living Color.
Ooh, okay. Wow. All right.
Melodic hard rock tend to be, around there. That's why Faith No More is in there because, Mike Patton's a fucking genius. And honorable mention Soundgarden too. I can't forget that because the late great Chris Cornell was just amazing voice.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't know. Well, we'll get to Conspiracy Corner another time. We'll get to that later. But
I got some conspiracy shit for you.
All right, good. Because we're gonna get to that. We're gonna save that for Conspiracy Corner.
We'll get there
another segment.
That's the thing. We have to get all the guest stuff out of the way at the beginning because we can spend the entire episode in Conspiracy Corner. I think especially according to chat. They love it. They love Conspiracy Corner.
Yeah. It's one of our favorite it's one of our favorite segments.
Anyway, are we leaving your segment now? And
we're done.
Talk about Nate? Unless you had something to add, Nate, about fanboy stuff. Hi, Ben.
He looks like he freezed again.
Yeah, I think he's frozen. Well, I think it's hilarious that Nate happened to freeze while Ben's over there bragging about it being nice and sunny and warm in Australia.
No, just that I am.
There you are. Now we see you moving.
Okay, yeah,
we're giving you a sec to catch up.
I'm here.
There you go. All right. Go ahead, Christy. Take it into the next segment.
All right. Here we go. Well, this next segment is not named because it's all about you, Nate. And I do know a bit about Necroland. I think where I want to start is I want you to give just a quick elevator pitch as to what Necroland is now? Because I think it's evolved.
Oh yeah. Sci-fi, horror, action, drama, and what it is now is all bets are off, and the shift has occurred, and basically everything's been let loose on the planet. So like things like the Rake and Sasquatch and Dogman are like kind of commonplace. And also some really weird shit that we've created of our own. And I really like the idea of ARGs, alternate reality games. And
Okay.
so I think the people that did it best and one of the first to do it was Lost. Because that show, can't believe it's almost 20 years old next year. But Lost was great at doing like Easter eggs, hidden shit. What's on the wall in the background meant something. I've got a whole lot of like graffiti on the wall in the background of some things from Kilroy Was Here to, you name it, just different stuff through the years. And the main characters, we begin right when the shift occurs, and the main characters all gravitate towards this town of Anders, which has elements of Raccoon City, collides with Silent Hill, and touches of Hobbs End. If any fanboys know what Hobbs End is, there's one for you. In the Mouth of Madness. Once you go across the bridge, you're in Hobbs End. So the town is this hidden in plain sight town, and it's got elements of Eureka. I mean, but I think it's fresh and new. And when you get to the town of Anders, shit really starts to get interesting. And I've got my Mulder and Scully detectives investigating the town of Anders and beyond. Eventually we have to go back to Ascension Facility, where my shorter-haired, shaved character, Captain Nicholas Hofstra, was living. And it's the story's been around for 15 years technically. But this iteration is the third and the last iteration because I could upscale everything to 4K. And it's got so many different elements. It's got the presidential entourage. It's got the kids section, which is kind of like Stranger Things collides with Goonies and a touch of Lord of the Flies. There's bounty hunters, and there's the cult girls, and there's the military and cops, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria, that type of thing. So
I just want to ask real quick, have you tried selling this as a TV show yet? Because your video is amazing, and the other parts and elements of your comic are just crazy. And I just got a quick glance at him. I'm like, wow, this is deep shit. You're really deep into it.
Yeah, it's a combination of having the time to develop it that deep, but also I'm pretty deep. And it's all got a biblical backbone, which branches off into other elements of ancient history and everything else. So it's a lot of fun. And no, I haven't pitched it because what my dream would be to just have everybody go to Patreon and fuck Hollywood. I'd rather have everybody go to Patreon. I'd rather have 100,000 people donating $3 a month so we could do the show for 5 or 10 seasons and fuck Hollywood. As Salty would say, fuck those kid fuckers. And it's like, I honestly just would love to keep it in-house with people who truly care about it, people that are, probably more libertarian, conservative, Christian, sensibilities. Everybody's welcome, though. Want to make that clear. But, I'd like to keep it all like in the common folk, I want everybody to engage more, too. So if anybody's watching, and haven't seen it yet, go to Necroland TV on YouTube, go to Necroland TV on X, and engage. I'm open to talking about all kinds of things, from cryptids to prepping. We try and touch on it all. You know, we even have like preppers prepping in the story, just as like a little shout out to all the people that prep and are in that universe. I try, you know, I bring in cryptids, you know, every night when I'm falling asleep, I fall asleep to a Dogman story or a Sasquatch story or something, and it all gets intermingled into my brain.
Now, on all these topics that you have involved with your Necroland series and everything that you're doing, do you have something that is the nearest and dearest to your heart?
You mean in the story?
Just even the subjects like that you were just mentioning, you know,
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm
actually,
really into this.
actually, for some reason, I'm really good at writing script for teenage girls. So I love the cult girls because they're evil as fuck, and it's kind of fun to work with them. But someone that kind of stole the show from them and the Karsnans. The Karsnans are kind of this eccentric family, and Julian Karsnan is the main scientist. But the person that kind of stole the thunder from both of them is Pastor Sid, and there's a guy Sin Mile who does Sinister the Clown, and he's got a hell of an audience. He's pushing 300,000 followers. But Sinister the Clown, he came out to a film shoot, and at first I was like, "Who the hell is this loudmouth Italian asshole?" And he ended up winning me over. And his character, Pastor Sid, is going to be the most fun to ever write for, because I get to do like this kind of like reluctant pastor. He's faithful to the Lord, but he's reluctant and kind of foul mouthed and kind of you know, doesn't necessarily reluctant, you know, superhero kind of character.
I don't know. I just keep thinking that perhaps he doesn't really want the flock.
Well, he's not good at it.
Okay.
Kids are scared of him. Old people are irritated by him. There's a scene that picks up right after that little one you just watched, the Necroland mini, which I'm actually going to be calling Shreds. I think Necroland Shreds. Right after that, he goes, "So, do you work with children?" It's like, "No, they're kind of scared of me." He's like, "Oh, so you work with the elderly?" It's like, "No, they don't really like me. They think I'm obnoxious." It's like, "Oh, so you know, you," and he keeps mentioning all this stuff, and he's like, "No, for all these different reasons." And I love that character because it's so easy to write comedy for, and I like bringing comedy into the darkness of the storyline. And I want to have Pastor Sid like going to confessional at a Catholic church when he's Protestant. And I thought it'd be funny if he sits down to do like that, writes itself, and that can be hilarious. It's like, wait a second, why are you in here? You know, and it's like it reminds me of how awesome Castiel, the angel from Supernatural, was. If you ever watch Supernatural, Castiel is this angel that's put into this really pious man, and he's a fish out of water because he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what voicemail is, and everything they did was hilarious with Castiel. And so I love the fact that I have that kind of. I always wanted a character like that to be my, you know, my outlet. And so Pastor Sid is kind of like that. So long answer longer. I'd say Pastor Sid right now, because I got some pretty heavy shit coming from him too. Where the scene, angry at God scene, I get choked up just talking about it because it's going to be one of the most powerful things I've ever written, and I would argue one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. Because and that's another reason why I don't want to do Hollywood, because they would always say, "Well, push it in this direction. We don't want to be too Jesus-y." And I'd be like, "No, I'm going to write this. It's going to be Angry at God is going to be powerful because it's going to be honest in every direction. He's going to yell at God. He's going to call God names. He's going to break down. It all revolves around a child, and it's really amazing. You know what what I've learned is Sin can, ironically, his name is Sin.
Yep.
Sin can perform this the way that I want it to. So I have an A-list actor in Sin. So it's funny, but yeah, that's my answer to that question.
I just have to ask you, are you a fan of the sci-fi TV show, original sci-fi, I guess it's on something else now, but The Preacher, which was a DC Comics Vertigo line for a very long time.
I haven't seen much of it. I've actually been saving it for when I when I take a day off and do a little drinking or something. I'll sit there and binge all of Preacher and all of I want to watch all of Penguin. I haven't watched Penguin yet.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch. I still have to watch Yellowstone, at least a couple seasons for shit's sake.
Wait a minute. Have you seen iZombie?
No, no. The last zombie thing I watched was um well, I watched a couple of crappy independents. But you know, it was a really funny one. Just to jaunt to the left for a second. Um, the Boy Scouts Handbook to Defeating a Zombie Apocalypse. It's not the right title, but if you look up Boy Scouts Handbook or something to Zombie Apocalypse, that thing was actually really fucking funny. That was actually really good. So if you want a good zombie comedy, that one looks stupid as shit. And we ended up putting it on one night, and it was really good. Just
I do like a good zombie comedy, but the only other one I know of is Shaun of the Dead.
Zombieland.
No, Zombieland is one, and then there's the one
I've
where
seen it.
my boyfriend was a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of them out there, but the Boy Scouts Handbook to the End of the World or the Zombie Apocalypse, check that out because that's a bunch of killer gags all in a row. It just didn't stop. And coming from I come from a history of comedy. That's where I got my start. So I got a pretty good finger on the pulse of what's funny. And that one was really well done. That was smart. Surprisingly.
Awesome. So let's take it back to the origination of Necroland, because like, we had mentioned at the beginning, you've been working on it for a while. Has this evolved into something that you didn't expect it to be from the beginning? Because I might have had the wrong impression, and I thought you were making a movie.
I was. Let me
Okay.
I'll give you the cliff notes as best I can.
Sure.
Way back in 2009, 15 years ago,
That is a little, man, we're getting older.
Well, 2009 is 15 years ago. It's like, wow, holy shit. But I moved back, or not back, I moved down here from the capital area where I grew up in Michigan. I moved down to Detroit area and I started doing a bunch of webisodes. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to just do a bunch of webisodes and see what kind of pans out. And I did Amel the Ewok, which was a Star Wars satire type of thing. It was a comedy thing. We were still doing Skits TV comedy sketches, but we were also doing Alignment, which was Heaven versus Hell. We were doing Shadow Earth, which is like sci-fi in the future, had a lot of elements of Necroland in there. We were doing, what else? Rasha was a fantasy one. And I had this really excited crowd of people at the time because the tax incentives had become a big deal in Michigan. And so everybody was like, woo. So I was like, wow, let's try all this stuff. And each day we'll go. Avis Oswald Private Eye was a black and white noir comedy thing. Just a paranormal Nate. And I wasn't Nate, my big black friend Nate, who we call, I'm white Nate, he's black Nate. And he's a 6'4" Marine, Semper Fi. And he was paranormal Nate. And we did a ghost hunters thing, but made fun of the bullshit. And so we're doing all this stuff, right? And I basically, that summer of 2009, everybody in the group was like, oh, well, let's do a movie. And we're going to do a movie called Pulp Zombie, which was taking elements of Pulp Fiction and Shaun of the Dead and smashing them together. And so everybody was working on getting money for Pulp Zombie and getting hotels and B-list actors and people that have names and who's going to do the makeup and all this different shit. And I'm sitting there going, if this doesn't pan out, we're just going to waste this summer. So I'm like, I'm going to do a web series in the vein of Pulp Zombie so that we're not just splatting heads in a parking lot somewhere to practice makeup and everything. I said, we'll do a web series and it'll have elements of Pulp Zombie. So we'll get something out of it while we're preparing. And so that's where Necroland came from. It was just a matter of necessity. And I was like, well, we'll make them rage humans and not zombies, a little bit more like 28 Days Later. And you can't get infected. Whatever happened that infected them happened once. I tried to, give some fresh twist to it. And so, yeah, we did that for 3 or 4 years. And we got it on blip.tv, and we were really rocking, and everybody was having a ton of fun. And the second year we did it, I brought in this whole new element. I brought in the town of Anders didn't exist yet. The presidential entourage didn't exist yet. So I brought in all this new shit. And by 2014, we were on blip.tv. We had everything on there, all the other webisodes and web series, Rasha, Alignment, Amel the Ewok, Shadow Earth, Avis Oswald, all that shit. And then we had like 15 webisodes, about 2 hours worth of Necroland. And so we had a bunch of shit going. Tax incentives were still a big deal. Mitch Albom was here, and Ted Nugent's there, and all these people are. It was an exciting time to be alive. And everybody was quitting their job at Chrysler and shit, and they were cameoing and doing extra work on all these movies. Real Steel was in town. I mean, it was really a different time. It was weird. And also, my hometown of Anders, Mason, Michigan. But Anders was giving me a bunch of just great perks. Small town, hometown boy comes back, does good type shit. And they were blocking off roads for me and letting us park cop cars behind us and flash the lights. And they were just doing all kinds of shit. They must have done about anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000 in like just freebies.
Because wow, that's nice.
Yeah, well, they gave us access to the county fair grounds are there. They gave us access to all these old buildings, some of which are gone. So everything we filmed is the only thing left. Blocking off streets for an hour or two. They let us do donuts in a cop car, which is insane. Like he literally did like 50 donuts because the cops loved us. They got to do all this crazy shit. And we're like, can so-and-so sit in the car? And they're like, hang on. And they'd go and get the shotgun out of the front, lock it and make sure it's locked, put it in the trunk, make sure everything, close the laptop so you don't see any information. And they're like, all right, go ahead and sit in there. And we'd sit in there, and then everybody would get out. And then if we need them to drive fast and stuff, the cops would get back in the car and drive it fast and do the donuts. That was so funny. The night he did the donuts, he pulls up to us. He goes, is that good? And you could hear a ting, 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 ting inside the car. You could hear like something was loose. And I saw the cops like a week or two later, and they're like, yeah, the guys at the shop asked us if we were driving through like cornfields or something. So I was like, wow, that's hilarious. And thank you, Mason, Michigan, Anders. We always call it Anders. But so the making of Necroland has been just as interesting as Necroland itself. And I think some people might enjoy the behind the scenes more because I document everything I possibly can. And so those are part of the origins to answer your story. There's so much to unpack. That was about to 14 or 15. And right about 14, that's section 1 of the history. And blip.tv got bought out by somebody. I forget who it was. And then that group got bought out by somebody else, and they just annihilated everything on blip.tv. So we put all this work into it. I was just tore up. I was like, motherfucker, we just put everything up on your thing. It was the first monetization that we'd ever gotten a taste of, because this is a while ago. And we were like, I'm like, I didn't feel like putting anything up online again for like 2 years. So we kind of took a break, but we were still filming some stuff for everything, for all the different web series. But my good friend Rob, who I was just doing like regular day labor with this week. Rob called me up in 2013-ish, and he goes, hey, I want to get involved with Necroland again. Can I tempt you with an airport? Because he's a pilot.
Okay.
And I'm like, you had me at Necroland, but sure. We got access to an airport, and more hijinks ensued until the cops and everybody came in and raided the place and took it away from the owner. And all the shit in between is interesting too. But
That does sound like a good sidetrack.
oh, dude, there's no stories lost in this adventure. I'll tell you. If something insane didn't already happen to me on the journey, because like just weird coincidences, I really believe God's hand is in this. Because every time I'm thinking about quitting, or I get frustrated, or I'm just like, what are we gonna do next, or whatever, something insane happens. Like I just wrote webisode 0. Please deal with my ADHD here, but shiny object in a squirrel. If we did this webisode 0, we're talking about flood victims and shit, and I wrote that in the script, and people have jokingly said to me, Nate, are you a prophet? Because every time you write something, it comes true, or it happens. And at first I was like, yeah, whatever, ha ha ha. But now it's eerily creepy because North Carolina happened like days later after we did that scene. So bizarre shit like that happens all the time. So we had the airport for a while. We've had all kinds of crazy places for a while. And I decided, well, we got enough footage. Let's do like 2 or 3 movies. We'll do a trilogy. And
Okay.
Between 2014-15 and 2019-20, in there somewhere. It's basically 2016 is when we really said, all right, let's hit the ground running. That's when I brought in the presidential entourage, the cult girls, the town of Andrews officially, and all that shit. And we went till about 19 or 20. And then we premiered it at the Irish pub here in town. And then lockdowns happened. So that's where section 3 of the story starts. And that version is just I went to North Carolina, met a couple actors, did some filming, and then came back. And now that I'm back, this is a segue into something you wanted to talk about possibly, is some things have popped up just in the last couple years, just in the last 2 years. AI, and also the ability, because of AI, the ability to turn everything that was old standard video that kind of got chucked, and we're like, fuck, I hate losing that. But now you can turn it into 4K.
Right. Yeah, we've been playing around with the cleaning up of really old film.
Topaz Labs. Topaz Labs is the one that has the best software.
Okay.
That can upscale it to 4K and it doesn't look funky. It took me 6 months to tweak and play with it because older shit doesn't process as good as newer shit. HD stuff processes a lot faster and better than, say, like VHS stuff from high school, because I have stuff on film all the way from the day the Challenger exploded in 1986 to just today. So I have footage of all that.
Right. And I know you did make a little bit of money, kind of more on the recent side, because a documentary about the second Woodstock you had film.
Yeah, technically it'd be the third, because they did one in 94. But the 99 Woodstock, I filmed something, and 22 years later, I got paid about what I make in a year or two.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was Netflix and HBO.
Wow.
I went over and watched it because you told me about it.
Yeah, you've seen more than I have.
You know what's funny is I didn't know that happened at the 99 Woodstock. It was a disaster.
Yeah, it was very disrespectful to the kids, who in turn were very disrespectful back to Mickey Hart and some other dude ran the whole thing, and they just were really like, they ran it into the ground. There was no shade. Water bottles were $7, but they didn't tell you they were free at the medical stand. And karma bit him in the ass, and I filmed it all. And because of that, I made a shit ton of money, and I was able to refurbish what's the word I'm looking for? I was able to replace, I guess is a good enough word, everything. Um, New computer, second iPhone. I shoot everything on the iPhone, by the way, because I like that. It's somewhere perfect in between Blair Witch and quality filmmaking. And I like that mush together kind of style.
Yeah.
You can shoot
Hey,
in 4K, but it looks what?
I'm sorry, did you say iPhones shoot in 4K?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be using it if they weren't.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Since 2016.
You
Um,
know,
I started
uh,
using my iPhone in 2016.
you had sent over some images and I picked a few of them. And I don't think I chose any of the AIs, but I'm kind of curious about the timeline on the ones that I chose because you've been working on this for so long. Should we bring them up and just take a look and you can tell stories?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I
All right. This
I
one cracked me up because you said this was popular internationally.
yeah.
Can you tell people what this is?
Well, we did a comedy show called Skits TV for a good 10 plus years. That was my thing all through the 90s. It's where I got my chops. I quit college and started doing a public access TV show, and that was Skits TV, and that's where I learned all the, the basics or whatever. Learned how to deal with people and politics and bullshit too. So it was just whatever. And around 2004-ish, 3-ish, 4, we're all hanging out and someone mentioned that the word crocheting looked like crotcheting, and I said the crotcheting out of the corner of my ear, and I said that sounds like a bad horror comedy or a horror movie or whatever. 25 minutes later, we're at the local mall shooting in the back lot of the mall. The first scene for the crotcheting, and it was all about a girl who goes crazy and starts kicking guys in their nuts. And it was very popular. Got the front page of MySpace, and back when that was a thing. And yeah, I mean, it was like that was the biggest hit we've ever had international. Sold copies as far as South Korea, United Arab Emirates, Scotland, Egypt. I got orders from all these places, and I'm like trying to keep up with the commitment.
Uh-huh.
And I had a lot of really funny people on board, especially the late great, we lost him in 2012, the late great Andy Hoffman. And I probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for Andy being so witty and funny. The guy was brilliant. And I don't know if you can bring up the crotcheting trailer, but it's out there somewhere. I forget where
Yeah.
If Cosmic can find it, he will bring it up, but you got to give him a chance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
try and find the 4K. I don't know if I put the 4K version up. It doesn't matter. It's the fucking crotcheting. So
Yeah.
on Iron Core Media, you can probably find it on Iron Core Media. It's only 2 minutes, and it's going to be 20 years old next year. I want to do a sequel, and I want to re-release it because I think like the college crowd, kind of sophomore at college humor. I think the college crowd would eat it up, and we'd really be able to fund Necroland if everybody wanted to buy a crotcheting copy. Because
All right, cool.
It's my, to sum it up, that is my Clerks.
Okay.
Love
Got
it. Love the reference. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, even though he's woke, broke, and stupid. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, and I when you talk about those guys, they're a disappointment to me too.
Yeah.
It's just like it is what it is. But everybody's got that one movie that pushed them through. Like Sam Raimi had Evil Dead 2. Well, there's Evil Dead 2 influences in the crotcheting. In fact, the very end before the credits, I do the camera through the weeds and across the street into the backyard, and I got a guy bending over to grab something, and the crotcheting ends with the camera going into somebody's crotch. And
Nice.
So, and I'm a Michigander, so of course Sam Raimi's an influence there, and blah blah blah. And I interviewed Bruce Campbell, and it's all connected to weird shit.
Well,
Love it.
Let's
Love
go to
it.
the next picture that we have here. All right, this is from Necroland.
Yep.
Is this on the early on the more recent side?
Yep. Yep. This is webisode 0 characters. That's actually in the town of Andrews. They have this big tunnely thing in there where people eat. And we just said, oh, go in there because that's a hell of a shot. And that's Cowboy Ed. And Tyler plays Jordan Cabe. And he's Sentient Facility, more my character's from. And Cowboy Ed is one of the Karsnans. In Andrews, I mentioned the Karsnans being the family that's been around for hundreds of years. They founded the town. And the Karsnans have all the connections. Cowboy Ed is a great guy. Everybody loves him in real life. But he plays Grayling Karsnan, who's kind of like the great white hunter tracker. I can hear something in the ground and smell something in the air and all that type of thing. And then Tyler is just kind of a bumbling oaf who I'm going to turn into a more courageous and focused character.
Very good. Well, that's the thing.
How he is in real life.
We were just discussing the other night because I finally had my husband watch Queen's Gambit, and he's like, "This is high art. This is wonderful." And we were discussing character development, and it seems like with what you're doing, you're giving characters plenty of time to develop and be loved and have the audience care about them.
Well, and I also think God is sovereign, and he brought all these new people into my life, like right at the last minute this year, because this year was like, I took a bunch of months off. I took a break that I needed. Hadn't really taken a break since Necroland began, if not longer. And I was going to go right into webisode 5, and I was like, I can't do this. And a week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 2 months. And, so right at the end there, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. I want to do webisode 0, which we did a webisode 0 in the original one 1,000 years ago when we first started it. I go, but I want to like develop the beginning of the story more so that some people aren't as confused by the story when they watch it. Because I'm a big fan of jumping in the middle of the story. I've been that way since I was a teenager. I loved the way that Lethal Weapon 2 opens up in the middle of an action sequence, and then you as the audience can figure it out.
Right.
And lots of movies do that, and lots of those TV shows like Lost do that. So I did that, but I had too many questions, and even Cowboy Ed was like, "Oh, my friends were confused." I'm like, all right. So I introduced webisode 0, which just takes it a day and a half, 2 days earlier in the story.
Okay, got it. Well, I think I picked 5 images, so let's go to the next one and take a look.
Okay, Cult Girl.
All right. So this is not AI. That's a real person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, she was like one of those day players, but boy, did I get mileage out of her photos. I took photos of her, filmed the shit out of her, because she had these piercing blue eyes and the bright blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's been in 100 different pictures, but that was a long time ago when we took those pictures. But because of that blonde hair, blue eyed scenario, I created the feral, and the feral are like the extra crazy bitches that like run around in tunnels and stuff. Ooh. And they go back and forth with the mental hospital, the asylum.
Uh-huh.
And they go into the asylum and out of the asylum, and they do all this crazy stuff, and they drink the blood of teenagers and all kinds of sick shit. Just like all the 80s horror movie stuff I grew up on. So she's a cult girl, but she's one of the feral. She's not one of the more stable.
Okay, so yeah, she's a tunnel dweller. You got to stay away from them.
She's a Marxist.
All right, let's take a look at the next one. There you are, beardless.
Yeah, short hair.
I picked this because I think it was one of your older ones.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Okay.
I think that's 2017. So luckily I haven't changed that much when I get the hairspray. I have hairspray now. Because I've kept shit that I did in 2009 and 10. It's not massive, but I've kept some scenes. I've kept some shit. That right there is the beginning. We had access to a cyber chamber, and it was a cyber school actually. So we had access to all these screens and cool shit. And that right there that you're looking at, that's actually, it was called at the time Norse. and now it's changed to HAP or some shit. I don't know. But what you're looking at there right now, it looks like war games.
Uh-huh.
It technically is. It's everybody's playing war games over the internet with each other, and they're doing attacks. They're doing attacks from their place of origin. And so when you see the little circles up there,
Mm-hmm.
that's all them playing war games with different countries and shit.
Oh, that's interesting. It's funny because I thought you green screened that in, actually. So that's actually a real screen in front of you.
That one is, but that screen is still doing that on the other side of the room.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That screen actually had this really weird. Remember the old Star Wars game you'd sit down in and it had the 3D tunnel?
Yes.
It had one of those going on that screen. That place was cool. That place was like another $500,000 location that we got access to because one of our guys, Army Matt was taking classes on how to become a hacker.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
That's the thing too. In my little bit of dabbling in film creation, my favorite thing is all the different locations you get offered.
That's the one thing.
Because people just want you to go film stuff, And
well, people are sorry, I'm trying to get one of our guys in here because he's like telegramming me. I'm like, I'm live, asshole. Sorry. But yeah, I have a list. I should have busted that out. I made a list because it got so insane. We got access to a 50,000 square foot commercial mall. And my friend was like, yeah, he can't sell it, so he is letting us use it. And I'm like, all right, because I didn't have a location, so she went and talked to somebody that she knows, and he probably wanted to fuck her or something. So he's like, oh yeah, you can use this building, go ahead. And it's like I can't sell it, 50,000 square feet. Like it had a lawyer's office, a dental office. It had like old basement. Like this is one of those stories. You go down in the basement, there's a giant blueprint book of the whole that block of buildings, and you could just thumb through. It was this big. It was fucking huge, and it was just blueprints of all the buildings in the area. It looked like something out of like Ghostbusters or something. And we got in.
That was fun.
Army Matt turned the sconces back on, turned the electricity back on, and pissed off the owner. And he was really impressed at the same time, so he let us keep it. And we were rappelling down 2 stories on the inside of the place. Those are some pictures too. And one of our high school girls, her mom's a teacher, and I'm good friends with them now. They're like family. And Caitlin got to rappel. She learned how to rappel like an Army person, or
in a mall.
In a mall, yeah, and it was awesome. And that's when we still had like extras up the wazoo. We had 75 people all walk in and shit, and we can cut to anything on the side that we want. But it looks like there's this big crowd of people, and there was that. There was the hockey ruins. The hockey ruins were this guy built 15% of a hockey rink in this township, and then he bailed with all the money, all the rest of the money.
Okay.
And so there was just these hockey ruins, a hockey rink ruins left over. And when I saw it on somebody's phone, I go, "What's that?" Because it looked like the cover. It looked like ruins from the past, but in the future past, like on a sci-fi novel cover.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And she goes, "Oh, that's up in Kimball Township. That's the hockey place that they did." And I go, "Really?" And so I made a phone call, and the rest is history. That place is wild. And that's where we did the 2-story jump off into the water. And we had to have people go into the water and make sure there's no like rebar or anything sticking out so we can jump into the water. And that was our first stunt ever in 2013, I think. The guys are wrestling, and they go off the edge of the building and into the water. And yeah, that place was crazy. Got a lot of horse farms along the way.
All right.
And then anyway, that place was the cyber range though. And that was an incubator for businesses until some stupid Marxists embezzled a bunch of money and ruined it for everybody.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, more Marxists always ruining it.
Hey, Nate. I think we're gonna be done because it's time for us to go into segments. We're actually about 30 minutes late because you like to talk, and I appreciate that actually because
Oh,
it's the reason I love having guests because I am neither entertaining nor charming. So I bring guests on to entertain
you're
my friends here
charming.
that I like my self-deprecation though.
Yeah.
Real quick though, before we move on, I just wanted to say what's up to Vulcan Lives. You're never late. You're always right on time. Thanks for popping in. I know George Washington X was asking about you. I think he was worried about you. And then Levi Skeen saying hail to the chat. Not even a hi to me. All right. What am I, chopped liver? And then over on the Madness Comic Network, Grey Wolf popping in saying, "What is up?" And I see somebody named Mina that says, "Poor Peanut."
Oh
I
yeah.
think I
Peanut
think
and
maybe that
Fred.
means the squirrel.
Yeah,
Eh,
Peanut and Fred.
Every time I said "poor Peanut," my husband corrected me with, "Don't forget about Fred." Everybody forgets about Fred.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So yeah,
Peanut stole the show though, so that's understandable.
he did. Well, I didn't know this. Well, for a little while I didn't know this, but apparently Peanut was a famous squirrel.
Yeah, that's what we're
Yeah.
talking.
No, I mean famous before the whole
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah. I had seen him before. I saw him a couple of times, like the ones where he runs up the guy's arm and does all that shit. And it's one of those things you glean and you
Right.
forget about it, and it's in your back of your mind. Oh, and then there's
Mhm.
that crazy squirrel again, and it's like they killed Peanut, and you're like, what are you talking about? That squirrel? What? And then you find out about it, and then it gets integrated into the whole like election cycle, and you're like, yeah, more Marxist scumbags, and now they killed everybody's favorite squirrel. So it's like, wow.
Yeah. Uh, anyway, I did not mean to derail the conversation off into Peanut, but don't worry, Nate. The first segment is still all about you, and then we get into a little bit of a deeper discussion. So our first segment, it's called Mansplain, and I'm giving you as a man a platform to actually explain stuff to me. And I promise I won't get
Mansplaining
mad.
is about giving back to the community. I personally think it should be called man sharing.
It's time for you to
He's
man share.
he's great. He's great.
JP is awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
JP's got some funny bits.
Well, something I'd like to know from somebody that's been doing film since what, the 80s? You've been film since the 80s or 90s? Close to
Um,
90s, early 90s?
I got my first Magnavox VHS camcorder in 1986, the day the Challenger exploded.
Okay. So, being somebody that's been working with different equipment and all that kind of stuff, and then you're kind of like moving forward with the times and using everything at your fingertips. I would like you to mansplain to me, but it might help people out there in the audience as well. um on a very low budget or little budget, mansplain how somebody in this day and age might be able to start playing around with filming or filmmaking. What would you suggest?
Well, I'm living proof of what you can do with nothing and make something out of it. Now, the reason I'm able to do that is I got a lot of skills. But if you're talking about just regular production, it's like you can do everything with an Android or an iPhone, like I am right now. Doesn't mean I don't
Easy.
ever.
No,
What's that?
no, I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. My dog decided to wander over to the pool. I stepped outside to have a smoke.
That's cool. um, yeah, iPhone is fine. So I've had people go, hey, you film on an iPhone. And I'm like, it looks as good as most DSLRs, so you don't have to spend a lot of money. Get creative, just sit there. I don't care if you have to smoke a doobie. Just, like sit there and think of creative ideas that don't cost anything. Lots of people have done it. I mean, look at Blair Witch, which is 25 years old now, and all the stuff they inspired along the way. Look at all that stuff. And one of the other things about the iPhone, I don't know about Android, but the iPhone is I can use most of that audio right off the camera microphone. I don't have a boom. I don't have a boom. I don't have nothing. I can run and gun, run and gun. Now, if I wasn't doing a lost footage flavored show like Necroland, I might not do that. But I could because no one can tell. And if it doesn't work every time, you ADR it. And then as far as other stuff, Amazon has a bunch of like just stupid cheap crap that Chinese slaves made. And buy that stuff up for cheap, and you can make a movie if you have some people with any talent for a couple $100 now.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You know,
I
and
think it's
I got lots of little like suggestions along the way, but I'm not going to bog you down with minutia. That's the general answer. But then there's a lot of stuff you can do, little tricks of the trade with blood and guts and how to film things to make something look faster, make something safe look dangerous, all that type of shit. But that would take,
Well, for anybody that wanted that kind of advice, you seem like a type of guy that makes yourself available for advice on social media and all that kind of stuff. Are you? Or do you want people to leave you alone?
That's what Junk Tank is for. I wish I had enough time to do Junk Tank more, because that was something I really wanted to engage with the audience in. And like if you're a 25-year-old something, trying to do film and you want to like have, oh, what are some parlor tricks you do, Mr. Quinn? What are ideas that you have? Well, how can I make this look better? That's why I started Junk Tank, so I could be like, hey, everybody, check this out. Necroland is all consuming though. So Junk Tank's been neglected. I haven't done a live stream in almost a year. Another reason I'm like, go to our Patreon, Necroland TV. Go to X, Necroland TV, and help support, because I would love to be able to have enough income coming in to be able to do Necroland without having to sweat all the details and wear 50 different hats, so that I can do stuff like Junk Tank and whatever to give back to the independent film community and beyond, and
Yeah.
do behind the scenes. Like I always make sure that I go, make sure you get that. Make sure you get that to somebody who has a camera. And I go film that, because we want to make sure we have that so people can see what we've done, or people can see how we did it.
Right. And
So people are always welcome to contact me. Sorry.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, because we didn't really get into Junk Tank tonight, but where is the best place for people that are interested in finding Junk Tank and looking at more Necroland? Where should they go? Is there a single link that leads to everything, or are you all over the place?
Well, you can go to mpqmedia.com now. It's not done, but it's under construction, but it's done enough where you should be able to find everything, I think. So mpqmedia.com. If not, it's pretty simple. It's just Necroland TV or Junk Tank Media.
All right.
On all the platforms. My suggestion would just be go to Junk Tank on YouTube. We need more subscribers and people there, because they're always throttling anybody that, isn't a gay, black, midget, female, blah, 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 talking about putting on makeup, all that crap.
We know what we know all about that. Well, I just got to say that in the YouTube chat, Lars Loofborough says, I love how on the fly Nathan comes up with storyline dialogue so spontaneously. It gives an actor so much freedom. Isn't that nice?
I try and respect my actors as best I can. I've learned that over the years. Not that I ever really wasn't, but if anybody, was like bummed out about something I did or whatever, I try and empathy is huge. And I always hear these stories about directors that do stuff, and I'm like, what? Made you sit in a chair for 10 hours in the cold? What? And I'm just like, wow. And I always try and be like, all right, well, let's do this so we can get him out of here, because he's got to go do that thing. Or she's got to leave early, so let's get this done so she can be. And so I'm always got like, just stuff going on.
Well, I think a decent director should be a little ADD.
Yeah, for sure. But be able to reel it all in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Lars is saying, is that I give people freedom. I'm like, just get in this ballpark and don't stutter. It's like, just get in the ballpark of the message. Get the message. Because I'm not like, when I write stuff, I'm not like a traditional writer who's like, oh, you're going to change my writing. no. I'm like, yeah, just get the message across. Unless it absolutely has to be those lines for some reason, for some kind of impact or joke, punchline, whatever. Then I'll be like, no, you got to say it this way. In
Right.
fact, I did that with Lars recently. But other times it's like, as long as you get in the ballpark, I can edit around that.
All right, understandable. Well, it is time for us because this is my favorite segment, and I think everybody else's as well. We're going to go into Conspiracy Corner. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do this.
I wanna live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't even. My head got bigger. This does not seem to be fitting right, but
it's like you got Jiffy Pop on your head.
I think we talked about that last night.
Pop, pop,
That's
pop,
fun.
pop, pop.
Yeah.
Oh.
I need to get a better hat. Anyway, so yeah, we're in Conspiracy Corner. We can talk about anything you want. There's a couple ways that we could do this. You could just start spitting any kind of conspiracy that you want, or we can go to the conspiracy wheel and you're assigned a conspiracy to talk about.
I got something for you.
All right. Well, Levi Skeen's going to be pissed.
Necroland is full of conspiracy. Like we talk about CERN. CERN by itself, you could talk about for an hour.
I know.
Because CERN is supposedly opening portals to other dimensions and hell and things. And like supposedly there's this one picture of these panes of glass that have all these ancient languages built into them in case they run into like a demon that speaks like fucking Sanskrit or something, I guess. And all those videos they make doesn't help with the conspiracy stuff. I mean, I think they're trolling for attention.
All the videos what makes CERN?
Yeah, CERN has them like dancing all these pagan dances and stuff. And
I have to look that up.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty out there. They do a sacrifice of a girl. Like I think it was just students screwing around, but who knows? Because people are fucking weird. But there's all these young kids, like the interns and the students or whatever, out in the courtyard in front of the statue of Shiva, the god of destruction.
Okay.
And they do a mock sacrifice of the girl.
Okay, I think I did come across that one. But yeah. And also that's what I hear is maybe causing all the Mandela effects. Is CERN.
Yeah, like
and timeline jumping and stuff.
I know this for sure. Dolly had braces. I know that for fucking sure.
Who?
I was 9 years old when Moonraker came out. Dolly was the cute little blonde with Jaws, Richard Kiel. And he smiles at her with his giant teeth.
Yes.
She smiles at him with it. The whole joke, the whole gag is that she smiles at him with a mouthful of braces and he smiles with a mouthful of metal, jaws.
Right. They had that connection. They had that.
That's how she would hook up with the giant monster that he is. And now she doesn't have braces. And I'm like, some weird shit's going on here.
That's crazy. I didn't know that one. I do like looking at different Mandela effects.
That's the one I'll swear by because I was 9 years old. It impacted on my 9-year-old brain, and you never forget some things.
I was wearing braces too. And I identified with that. Yes. I'm right there with you, Nate.
Dolly had braces, and there's a couple other. I didn't read enough Berenstein Bears to go. It's Berenstain Bear or Berenstain Bears is Berenstein Bears. And you know what? Another one that's really crazy is the Black Tom event. Anybody hear of the Black Tom event?
No. What is that?
That's the first terrorist attack on America ever. Because everybody was 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, and sorry, I hope you don't get flagged for me saying that 3 times.
No, that's why it's Conspiracy Corner. The hat protects us from any kind of flagging.
But look up the Black Tom event. I've been watching this one guy that does the Black Tom event. The Black Tom event was a bunch of shit on the docks in New York were blown up by terrorists, by like German terrorists or some kind of terrorists. And the impact was so big that buildings in Manhattan, I think, the windows got blown out. I mean, the explosion was fucking huge. And it's like in the 20s or the 30s, I think it's the 20s that this happened. And it was post World War I, pre World War II, and nobody's ever talked about it ever. And suddenly this guy starts investigating it. This is all I'll say. He started investigating it, and when he went around a year later to reinvestigate it, there's all this new information online about it. There was nothing when he started the year or two before. A year or two later, he goes to check it out, and now there's films of it that people took with, Super 8 back then, and all this shit just appeared, and I'm like, are they putting AI into this? I'm like, what is going on? That it didn't exist and now it does. And
Well, yeah, that's a thing that was recently brought to my attention because I've been looking at anybody that watches this show knows I talk about it all the time or bring it up, but I've been looking into Tartaria, and one of the people that goes over it is talking about, like, it really seems to me that AI wrote the history on a lot of this stuff, And I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought of that angle. So it could be practiced on us for much longer than we know,
Well, they have ancient maps that we trust are ancient maps, but I've seen some old maps and shit, like in person. And they have Tartaria or Tartar written on them, and it like consumes all of the Russian area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why didn't we learn about, well, you learn, you don't have to be conspiratorial to know that everything they taught us in school was limited and or bullshit.
Yeah, it makes me feel slightly better that I did terribly in school. Yeah. I'm like, maybe I just intuitively knew as a kid. I'm like, this is all bullshit. I'm not learning any of this, and then just chose to have fun in photography and band.
Yeah, and they don't teach a lot of like important history. They don't teach a lot of the Black Tom explosion was an act of sabotage by agents of the German Empire. I got that right. Good. To destroy U.S. I can't read anymore.
Go to the chat in this Zoom. You'll see it. I just grabbed the quick first paragraph and a half right off of Wikipedia. But I do remember hearing about this event because it was pre-World War I. And my social studies history teacher, Mr. Tom, talked about this, which I found pretty funny because it was called Black Tom and his last name was Tom. And it just kind of struck me funny. So it stayed with me from the early 80s. So we're talking 79, 80, 81. That I remember discussing this with my history teacher, whose name was Mr. Tom.
Okay.
That's a funny coincidence. Yeah, and if you look at the guy that I follow the most, that did the reinvestigation and all that weird shit, he only found one reference to the Black Tom event in like the 60s, an article in like the 60s or something. And
that's wild.
If you go back and reinvestigate it now, there might be a whole bunch of more articles.
That's so weird.
Weren't there? Like, he showed, he had the foresight to record, like, he goes, yeah, look at this. There's only 5 articles or 5 sets of pictures, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes back there and he shows it. And he goes, holy shit, look at this. I just happened to record the original in, research. He goes, there's like 10 pages now.
Yeah. So real quick, I'll read this. The Black Tom explosion was an act of sabotage by agents of German Empire to destroy U.S.-made munitions that were to be supplied to the Allies in World War I. The explosions occurred on July 30th, 1916 in New York Harbor, killing at least 7 people and wounding hundreds more. It also caused damages to military goods worth some $20 million, which now would equate to $560 million as of 2024. This incident, which happened prior to U.S. entering into World War I, also damaged the Statue of Liberty. It was one of the largest artificial non-nuclear explosions in history. They say artificial, and I don't understand what they mean by artificial. It was an explosion. It just wasn't a nuclear explosion.
It was a giant firebomb.
Well, I've got Nat Rain actually over in chat asking what's Nathan's theory on why the Black Tom explosion has been hidden or was and then was not.
No idea. I mean, I was asking the same thing, like, because I take everything with, a block of salt. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm retarded and I thought that she had braces. And
no, dude, I saw that too.
I know.
And I had braces then. So it's Mandela effect, which is being caused by things like Pegasus Project and other time jumps that are splitting our, I mean, if you guys even think remotely, I know it's bullshit, but watch Disney's Marvel's Loki series and the way the timelines branch off, it kind of replicates what to me would be the Mandela effect. We're hitting a different timeline. We're streaming to a different era. Things that we remember as kids are now in an alternate reality, or now in an alternate.
What do you think that there's an Earth A and an Earth B? And like some people's minds and spirits went one way, and
if you have to put a label to it, then yes, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth A, Earth B. I mean, DC Comics has done a bazillion versions of that, with Earth 2 Batman and Earth 695 Superman. And,
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right, which is the same bullshit that Marvel's doing with the time jumps, the timelines, the splinters in time. You go Back to the Future. Back to the Future was a cornerstone series or trilogy of movies that I think gave conceptually alluded to the conceptual idea of what truly is timelines and time jumps.
Especially the second one.
Yes, very much so. So I would tend to think, because Cosmic Grandpa and I have a show called Three Beermen, and we've done a show on this. And do you remember the commercial with the guy sitting in front of a giant set of speakers, and his glass starts blowing backwards from the volume of the music?
Yeah.
Do you remember which music company that was? What manufacturer?
Maxell.
Was it Maxell or was it
tapes or
right? Cosmic, I need you to jump in here. What did we remember it as? It wasn't Maxell.
A lot of people confuse that one with the Is It Live or Is It Memorex commercial.
Memorex. Yeah, that's it.
Memorex.
And the dude,
but it was in fact Maxell.
Yeah.
It was Maxell, but people remember it as the other one.
But if you said Memorex, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay. Because there was the one where the dude's sitting back in the chair and his tie is like caught up. Like,
yes, exactly. Exactly. So I remember it as Memorex. I remember it as being a Memorex commercial. But it's not. You look at it now, you go back and look at it and Google it, and it's not.
What do they say it is? Or it doesn't exist at all?
No, it does. Cosmic. What was it again?
Memorex.
No, Memorex.
Maxell. Maxell is the actual tape manufacturer.
Yeah, see, I'm from Earth B.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm from Earth B, and you're from Earth A.
Yeah, there you go.
More division.
It's a division. It's a splitting in the timelines, and it's memories that not just I, but other people have from the different timeline that we were on when we were children. Yeah. So that's my theory, but this is not my conspiracy corner. I'm sorry, Christy. I jumped in.
It's everybody's conspiracy corner.
Yeah.
There's room for us all.
Open dialogue.
There you go. So Nate, that's my take on it, but I digress.
I mean, The only thing I don't buy into is that I don't buy into that there's millions of realities. Biblically, I think that's bullshit. I think it takes away your dignity as an individual, as an original.
Yeah.
So I don't buy into that. But if you were to say that like there was some kind of a one-way split, no more than two, and like, that has some loose scientific theory to back it up. I mean, I'm open to everything, but I just have a certain way I think at the same time.
Right.
But
Cool.
your theory is not garbage though, and as far as I'm concerned, it's good.
I think when people were doing things like Pegasus process, it caused a divergence or some sort of split. Every time they altered the timeline, every time they edited or tried to edit the timeline, there's been a fracture, causing these Mandela effects or butterfly.
Why was it such minutia is my question. Like, why is it a schwa on a Ford logo and not like, why didn't the Civil War happen twice? Or you know what I mean? Or didn't happen at all? Or, why is it always like minutia, like something on a, Fruit of the Loom, the cornucopia or whatever? Why is it always
right?
The cornucopia was always there. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
I feel like that was on everybody's timeline.
But they memory hold it. They memory hold it that you cannot go online and find a cornucopia with a Fruit of the Loom logo.
Right. Yeah, and what was the other one? Just thinking of because there's a bunch of minutia, but Black Tom, for instance, is what I'm talking about. That's a big event.
Yeah.
That's not a cornucopia on some underwear.
Well, the thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I wasn't going to say anything that great.
The thing I keep in mind is that regardless of what it was, you asked the question, why such minor minutia? I think it's the minor minutia that caused the triggers to the psyops that they want us. They're different triggers for different people. Like a keyword or a phrase. This was programming via tell lie vision.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. It's a tell lie. They tell lies to us through these visions. So
it also makes sense that it's abstract and fractal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be this big, huge event. Or if something did change that was huge, how would we even know? We would just accept it as reality. Unless there's a few people left over who remember the big event or before the big event or whatever. I think it's going to be small, fractal, and abstract, and it's going to be Fruit Loops instead of Fruit Loops. So.
As an Asimov fan, I'll jump in real quick and say there's the possibility that it's because time is stubborn. Time is resistant to change, and all of the fractures that we've been able to create so far are only minor things because we haven't been able to create a big fracture yet.
I do have a storyline. I think what you're saying kind of is an idea I had. If I was to do time travel, and that's a really big if, because time travel is so convoluted and often cheesy, but I've often thought that time is self-correcting. Like, I wouldn't be worried about killing a moth in the dinosaur days.
Exactly. That's what I meant by time is stubborn.
Yeah, time is stubborn because it corrects itself, because it's not necessarily going to go in an exact way, but it always comes back to where it's going. Does that make sense?
Like you're stretching a rubber band and then letting it go, and it goes back to its original shape.
But it is lost some of its elasticity, so you get Mandela effects because of it.
There you go. Just like a rubber band.
Oh my God, I'm smart. Lie. It's a total lie.
I just think you're high.
Yeah, shit. I was thinking about drinking a couple drinks before this, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I just came out here to get a smoke, and I don't mean of the nicotine variety.
Well, do you have a butterfly behind you, Bruce?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Yeah, I thought that was
metallic,
funny.
It's a metallic butterfly. It's one of my mom's ornaments.
Speaking of butterflies,
how crazy. Go ahead.
I watched this horrible movie that my dad said, you should check it out. It's called Sound of Thunder. And if you want to watch a movie that should be MST 3000, it's perfect. But the whole thing is they build a pathway that people can go back in time and go check out dinosaurs, but you can't leave the path. And someone steps on a butterfly, and
I've seen that really bad movie.
Yes, it's terrible.
It's horrible.
These pterodactyls are attacking the car, and they go, "What?" It's like, oh my god. My friend and I finished it just because they had to. It was so bad. But
that's it. You have to watch it once you start it.
Yeah, because it is so bad it's good. It is that. It is that. But they killed the butterfly, and that changes all of history. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm sure they'll figure it. I'm sure time will figure it out. It's gotta be time cops.
Well, like I said, we can always spend all night in Conspiracy Corner, but it is time for us to move on, guys. This was a good one.
Thank you.
Even though we didn't spin the wheel.
Nate.
What's that?
I said thank you for engaging me in that one, Nate. I love that. That was a good conversation.
Oh yeah. Because I do the late night Necroland research, from cryptids to Mandela effect to Antarctica. There's one to talk about.
Yeah.
Antarctica's crazy as fuck. It's fucking crazy. Antarctica has got so many, even if none of this shit's true, I love it because it's great fodder for when I write my shit, and I'm like, because they had underground CERN LHCs inside of Antarctica for a while, and then that information disappeared. And everybody had their Apple Watches.
Yeah.
They could see the little dots inside the LHC underneath the ice, and I'm like, this is some high 11D chess hoaxy conspiratorial bullshit if it ain't real. I mean, and I love it because I want Nephilim fighting demons, or they are technically demon spirits, but I want Nephilim fighting Godzilla and fucking Antarctica and all, because we got the ability to do it now. And I want UFOs going pew 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 pew, and Godzilla goes what? Hits him in the face, and he's like, "Raw!" And he grabs the UFO and he shoves it up a Nephilim's ass, and then kicks it into his ass further, and then kicks him again, and kicks him over a mountaintop, and then it grabs onto the mountaintop and it breaks off, and there's a pyramid underneath it, and he's like, "Holy shit! There's a pyramid!" And he gets hit, and he's trying to point out the pyramid, and I met a guy who stood underneath the pyramid in Antarctica, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I told you this shit always happens to me. Give me time. Like the Sasquatch people, let me go with you. I guarantee you something will fucking happen. If I go in, I'm like a vortex for this shit.
You know what I think we should do is schedule another stream and just do as long as we can last fucking spitting conspiracy, all the crazy conspiracies for as long as possible.
Oh, I'll bring everything to the table. I'll bring everything to the table that I know.
Yeah.
There's only one day in Genesis where God doesn't say, and it was good.
Oh,
yeah,
that's an interesting one.
And it's when the atmosphere and the firmament exist, and that's where the demons dwell. You'll see in Genesis. Go read it. It's the only day that he doesn't say, and it was good, because it's full of all the assholes.
Okay.
I can bring a bunch of shit to the table. If you want to do a conspiracy thing, I can go 3-4 hours.
We'll do it.
I can
do it,
and
we should stream, co-stream it on each other's channels.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it. But yeah, you guys, I tried to leave Conspiracy Corner and you kept going. I'm the host.
Yeah.
You're supposed to listen to me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
We're out of Conspiracy Corner.
Again.
We're out of Conspiracy Corner because I'm starting to get hangry, and I've been thinking about breakfast for dinner this entire stream. I have been paying attention.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So
yes, Vulcan Lives. We agree. Conspiracy Marathon, and everyone's invited to at least watch. But Vulcan, I don't know if you ever stream. If you wanted to pop on and say
that one. I would honestly, I would bring.
I think it'd be fun.
We could go.
I'd bring a lot of people to that one because I got a couple of friends that think that think that Biden's cloned and that Hillary Clinton's dead and been replaced. I got friends that say that shit, and I'm like, come on, really? You know,
The body doubles, the body triples, the body quadruples.
yeah,
The clones.
You know,
wait, we're going back into the corner.
Yeah,
Guys, I just said
Sorry.
we have a fix. We'll have a conspiracy show.
All
right. Because like I said, I'm getting
Creative
hangry.
chaos. Creative chaos. Take 5.
Yeah.
right. I was just glad that it was number 47 because Trump, motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Wow, that's
hashtag.
a pretty cool.
Shame on you for not even thinking of that.
All I've been thinking about is like, wow, we're coming up on 50 soon.
Yeah. I know how that is. It's
Anyway, okay. So the last thing that we do before we leave Creative Chaos is I get to brand you. I get to brand you, but not with the hot poker kind like Nixium. I know. It's just a Flip City branding. And what I've got for you tonight is I'm sure you have heard of Elon Musk's new role in government, the Doge, right? The Department of Governmental
which is hilarious.
Efficiency, right?
It's fucking hysterical.
That's crazy. I even bought $100 in Doge when I had my HBO Netflix money.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, when I got my my Woodstock 99 money, I bought a bunch of Bitcoin, which by the way has doubled just since he won. Don't buy into any of the bullshit that things are going bad. They're going up. It's all going up.
Yeah.
Just his name, the name that we must not mention.
I can't.
I bought a bunch of that
I
shit.
I can't even buy stock in his company yet because I'm in the middle of a freaking divorce.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I know, dude.
I want to buy it now. I want to buy. It's at like 29, 28. As soon as he gets into office on January 20th, that shit'll be triple, quadruple. I'll be in my own Doge heaven.
Right. Yeah. And I bought $100. But anyways, it was very bizarre that it's conveniently works out to be Doge. You know?
Oh yeah.
Because
they didn't plan that. Because they were like, what's Doge? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's one thing. I was on another stream last night that I said was this administration has their finger on the pulse of their constituents and culture like none other.
It's
like
insane.
They did
the
Doge
dream
on
team.
purpose.
It's insane the dream team that he's put together. I mean, Vivek kicks ass, Tulsi kicks ass, Elon kicks ass, and they're all from different walks of life, and they're all. I mean, two of them.
100%. 100%.
Democrats.
The problem I have with some of them is a lot of them made their money in big pharma.
Sure.
And that's my biggest gripe of bone of contention.
But if they do good, I can forgive anybody's past, you know. And that's why, like in Vivek, you know, I mean, that guy's sharp as shit. You could have a bunch of presidential candidates for the next 40 years.
But wait, there's more. You know about how tied in with Vance he is, right? Vivek Ramaswamy went to school with Vance and his wife.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Vance's wife is Indian. I think she's from Sikh, right? She's a Sikh Indian.
She's a Sikh, yeah.
Sikh, and so is Vivek Ramaswamy. They were all friends back in college, back in law school.
Well, that's interesting.
Which that kind of connection would sometimes bother me, but the fact that Vance is so grounded and so sober-minded, and like he's a dude you could have a beer with and talk about Lions football, you know, and just be like, you know, the second string though is really weak. I mean, that's the kind of dialogue you could have with the guy, and it's like that's the kind of people I want, you know, running the country because they're so down. Like Joe Rogan sold me on Vance. That totally sold me because he's sitting there dropping a couple F-bombs, making it clear he could have a couple of beers, making it, you know, and
then he was on what was that other show he went? Oh, Theo Vaughn. Yeah. He was on Theo Vaughn too. I caught parts of that as well. You know, it was funny because somebody gave me DJ Vance's book before he was even remotely. He was anti-Trump when somebody handed me that book,
Yeah. Well, a lot of
Hillbilly
people
Elegy, and I was like, huh. I never got a chance to finish reading it, bits and pieces, but I'm ADHD, so I don't read well. I can't read a book to save my life because I'm dyslexic on top of ADHD. So if I'm listening to an audiobook, I can hear it. So I started listening to bits and pieces of it on whatever the audibles. That's it, the audibles. But he was not a Trumpster. He was
Yeah.
anti-Trump at first, and to turn that around, you see, I always look at Trump always playing 5D chess. And this is not conspiracy corner anymore. We're not in conspiracy corner,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we will roll down this path for a minute. Like you said, the dream team that he's putting together, we haven't seen anything like this since Reagan was in office.
Yeah. And even then, it was nothing like
Nothing like this.
out of the box, just like when you look at them all, they put their heads on top of the Marvel superheroes, and you're like, holy shit, I can't wait to see what these people can do. And then off to the side, you've got like Tim Pool and Joe Rogan and a few other people.
Whoa. Don't talk about that idiot Tim Pool. I can't handle his stupidity.
I don't mind Pool.
No, I can't. No, he's a grifter, but forgive me. He was so anti-Trump, and then he was
Well, then we'll just say people like Rogan then.
Rogan.
You know,
Rogan I can tolerate.
Because Rogan really helped everything. There was all these little pockets helping out the right before the election, and then the day before, Rogan says, "Yes, this is an endorsement for Trump," and I'm like, right on. Like everybody's like just kind of pew 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 putting their 2 cents in right at the like last.
Do you know what I heard today? I was listening to somebody. Do you know how many people, musicians, have turned to Joe Rogan privately, called him up and said, "Thank you for endorsing Trump because I'm too much of a pussy to do it."
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Hooray.
You know.
I know. You know, if
I saw.
Sorry.
if men would act like men, huh?
We're busy mansplaining.
We're mansplaining
To each other. I mean, I'm just sitting.
Go cook us breakfast.
I'm thinking about eggs, bacon,
Yeah,
fried
go
potatoes.
cook us breakfast while we mansplain.
But no,
I
need to brand Nathan, and Vulcan
Go ahead,
Lives
brand
is
Nathan.
super excited because it's his favorite part of the show.
Go for it.
All right. Anyway, I don't know if you guys even remember how this was brought up, but it started with Doge, right? So Department of Government Government Efficiency. Something that I bet you don't know, Nate, is what all of the government agencies are, but Flip City wrote about the lesser known ones. Are you ready to read about a couple?
Sure.
All right. So here we go. I'm going to kick this off, and then basically, yeah, that's right. I'm going to read this, and then we're going to go to the next slide. Everyone fears those three-letter cringe-inducing acronyms like FBI, CIA, NSA, CDC ad infinitum. As it always seems to be, government creates these agencies in the name of managing problems. That is, they always manage to turn them into bigger problems to keep the paychecks coming. With that, here are some truly terrifying and awful new alphabet agencies. So these all came in under the Biden administration and will likely be cut. So here are the agency titles. We've got Department of Nuclear and Petroleum Ridicule, Department of Perpetual January 6th Hysteria, the Hip Hop Disbursement Agency.
Shut up.
The Bureau of Universal Menstruation, and the National Archives of Adult Services, otherwise known as NADS. So last week we did go over two of them, and we don't have all night. So out of these five here, which two would you like to read about? And then Cosmic Grandpa will bring them up.
You're talking to me?
Yes.
It's got to be Hip Hop Disbursement Agency. Are you kidding me?
Okay, and then one other.
National Archives of Adult Services, of course.
All right.
Nice.
So basically, Nate, the way this is going to go. Oh, do you have Cosmic Grandpa's pen screened, by the way? Screen penned?
It's right here. I mean,
Yeah, pin it so you can read when they come up.
How the fuck do I do it?
Double tap his screen only.
Yeah. Do you see Cosmic Grandpa? His screen.
I'm double clicking on it. It ain't doing
You're muted, Batman. How the heck do you mute right? You were just talking.
The title says agency titles, and then it lists the five different departments. That's his screen. Just tap it once, and then it lightly hold it, and it should open up to his
on a phone, Bruce.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm on a Samsung Android because I think Apple iPhones are shit. But I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Smoke a little more, man. It's like not a phone.
On a PC, you look for 3 dots in the upper right corner and hover over the 3 dots, and it'll bring down a menu, and it'll say pin.
I got him right here. View profile.
Thank you, Cosmic.
Pin.
Pin.
Yes.
Boom. All right. So basically, Nate, it's not just for your education, it's for the whole chat and anybody that comes later to watch this. So you do have to read these out loud once they come up. So we've got Hip Hop Disbursement Agency and NADS.
Hip Hop Disbursement Agency. Dedicated to shoving the magic of commercial hip hop music in your face every minute of every day. This ministry of rap promotes the mass digital and physical proliferation of hip hop musical recordings and cultural paraphernalia, and establishes federal standards for daily listening consumption quotas. The agency provides funding to universities for programs in rap history, rap theory, and rap science. The HHDA is endowed with the power to levy taxes on hip-hop artists with unacceptable political viewpoints. But
I mean, aren't you glad that Doge is probably going to cut this agency?
Fuck yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm still not believing that this is real.
But wait, you know who they chose to run it? You know who they chose to put in charge of it?
Who?
Pedo Diddy.
I know.
It's funny
that it's funny that it hasn't been brought up.
It's like a gag you're doing, right?
So, National Archives of Adult Services. All right, read this one.
All right. But this isn't real, right?
Well, you're on a Flip City stream. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, I'm just making sure because this is the problem with Clown World is you don't know anymore what's reality and what's not. So,
it's true.
So true. So true. I call it Bizarro World. What's right is wrong and what's up is down.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Okay, you go to press friends and National Archives of Adult Services, NADS or NADS. NADS ensures that all adult-themed publications, print and video, from the earliest 20th century smut to the latest website content, will be preserved for posterity and intensive study for future generations. Contents will be available in the department's online archives. No login required. All ages welcome. Physical archives. Office is always at full staff. Sorry. Pants optional, although it says optional. Latex gloves recommended. Department will scrutinize pornography in any and mediums. Really hard. Constant lie. Forwarding email and escort ad phone numbers directly to POTUS for approval.
Oh man. Hey, just to let you know, they were not printed in Flip City like this. I had to reformat them for streaming. Sorry. I'm like, yeah, wow, I really screwed that up.
I'm gonna directly probably one day.
Okay, I'm glad that we could clear. I could hear the panic in your voice.
Who, me?
You know, when you were thinking for a second that these might be real.
I just wanted to know what optional was, you know. It's all optional. The fuck are you talking about? No.
I just gotta say, backstage, Cosmic Grandpa says, "You're not getting the segment back, Christy." Lol.
I LOL'd out loud.
That's
Yes.
Anyway,
when that's when Nate and I went into the second conversation.
Oh yeah, the Mandela second. Or the
Yeah.
yes, yes,
conspiracy.
yes.
Totally conspiracy. So.
Just
Yes,
as we
I
jumped
thought
out of
everybody.
conspiracy corner.
I think everybody would have gotten that if you're paying attention. Anyway, so we are at the end of the show tonight, but
What?
Nathan, we
rip-off.
should plan to do
Bullshit.
I'm having so much
Yeah.
fun. We should carry on another hour and a half.
Exactly.
But Kristen's got to go have her eggs and bacon.
Fuck women.
Yeah, well, except
Women.
for also Cosmic Grandpa is limited to 2 hours, and we want to be respectful of our wonderful, wonderful producer.
So let's ask Nate to give everybody his web addresses so they can find him, and where's the best place to look for you, Nate?
Well, to keep it simple, it all branches off. If you go to necroland.com, it's 80% there, 90% there. It's very cool. You can go through all these Easter eggs, and I did a bunch of shit where you got to like click on things sometimes and you play a little game to get to something. It's very, influenced by that lost, like all that shit when you talk about it at the water cooler the next day. Be like, oh, did you find the Easter egg of the thing and the this and the that? So necroland.com is all things Necroland. It has all the widgets that go to everywhere else. Necroland.com.
So if somebody wanted to start from the beginning and go through chapter by chapter, what do you recommend? How does that work?
Then go to YouTube. YouTube has all the rebooted 4K shit. You can watch about 75 minutes of it with Webisode 0 and 5 coming out by Christmas. Webisode 0 by Christmas, Webisode 5 by whatever. But you can watch about 75 minutes of the story. Behind the scenes when we lit our guy on fire. A stunt friend of mine we lit on fire because he always wanted to do that. And
that's cool.
Music video from 10 years ago, but it looks modern because it got upscaled to 4K.
Wow.
So yeah, YouTube, Necroland TV, which you can get to through necroland.com. And then Junk Tank. I actually got Junk Tank at YouTube. So youtube.com/Junk Tank. Everything else is pretty much Junk Tank Media. But please sign up on X because I really want to build my audience on X. I really want to engage with people about Dogman, Antarctica, UFOs, CERN. Every time Ancient Ruin, I'm going to start posting more stuff like we just found ancient ruins a couple.
So what's your handle on X, please? How do we find you on X?
Necroland TV. Sorry, Necroland TV.
Yep.
At Necroland TV.
Yeah. It's basically, everything's Necroland TV at Instagram and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And sorry, I get yapping about ruins and shit. There's ruins in the Great Lakes. Okay.
All right. We're done with Conspiracy Corner.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm getting hangry. So thank you, Nate, for being here. And yes, I would say if you want to talk directly to Nate, find him on X. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
and
just
then
DM
if you want
me on X.
And if you want to catch up, find Necroland TV over on YouTube. That is the link that's in the description, I believe, and then also pinned over on both the YouTube chats. And yes, we are going to set up a conspiracy marathon, and I think we'll have a good time. Maybe that's something that we should do.
Yeah.
Maybe we should schedule that for between Christmas and New Year's. That sounds like a kind of fun thing to do.
Maybe. I'll give me time to prepare. I'll take notes. I'll have notes in my phone. I'll go, oh shit, that'd be perfect for the thing.
Okay.
I want to do a Christmas. Let's do a Christmas Eve show.
Probably not. Probably not. I'm always insanely busy on Christmas Eve.
Everybody is. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Anyway, Bruce, tell everybody where to find you.
Huh?
Not us Jews. We go to the movies and have Chinese food.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I thought I smelled something Jewy. Our cousins in the Bible.
All right, Bruce, go tell everybody where to find you.
3beerman.tv every Sunday night. We have episode from 7 p.m. Big Apple time, 4 o'clock avocado time. 6 o'clock barbecue time, 5 o'clock Central Time. Come check us out. Cozy AF with 3 beermen and our beer bird. Cosmic and I talk about pop culture, beer, and technology. Well, not me. I'm the tech tard. I'm the analog man in this digital world. I listen to them talk about technology. But that's where you can find us. And remember to like, subscribe, ring that bell, click that red pill on pill.net, and give us thumbs up on Rumble. All right, everybody.
Make sure you subscribe and contact me on follow and all that shit so we can connect and DM and whatever.
Absolutely, we'll do.
Especially if we're gonna do another show about conspiracies.
There you go. I'm Bruce Q Wayne on X. So Bruce Q Wayne.
Okay.
You can find me there.
With the hyphens?
But I'm sorry?
With the hyphens? No hyphens?
No. It's just Bruce Q Wayne. At Bruce Q Wayne, no hyphens. One word.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
the best. All right, guys. And thank you so much, Nate. Really a lot of fun. And I look forward to chatting with you later on this week out of the show.
Sure.
And then back to me now.
Oh,
now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Sure.
Yeah. Don't forget about Christy and Flip City
on
Magazine.
Thursday, I hang out with Christy.
Hey, you guys, anybody that wants to show any kind of public support, we have only 3 days left on our Fund My Comic campaign for volume 23. And it's always fun to see that number jump up publicly. So you can find our campaign at fundmycomic.com. If you guys, wrong way, fundmycomic.com /FlipCity23. That's where you'll find us. We got 3 days left on that campaign. And then if you want to contact me directly, like even if you are interested in joining a Creative Chaos or have questions about Flip City Magazine on X, I tend to check those DMs the most. On X, that's at Kitty Flip City. Don't DM at Flip City Mag because Scott doesn't look at his DMs. I do. At Kitty Flip City. And anybody that's been around Creative Chaos long enough knows that I highlight fantastic people creating fascinating things outside the mainstream. So you got to be doing that to qualify to be on the show. That's about it. And don't be a dick. That's it.
No dick pics. Got it.
Oh, that still has never happened to me. Thank God. And I hope it never does.
I can change that.
Gross.
Well, what about my butt? Can I send my butt?
Maybe, but only if it's creatively lit. Anyway, we're gonna shut down the stream. And also thank you to the awesome chat. Levi, I'm so happy to see you popping by almost weekly. George Washington X, if you're still out there. Nat Rain, a contributor to Flip City Magazine. Ben, I'm not sure if you're still out there, but you did say hello. And everybody else that I'm not scrolling back to see who was here. And then also thank you to Mr. Throwback over on pill.net for rating our channel. And I have the Flip City Pilled set up to raid the Madness Comic Network because we love them. We just can't quit them. So we will see you guys next week. Not you, Nate, unless you come in, hang out, and chat with us. And our buddy Cosmic Grandpa with his Bitcoin shirt.
Just came to wave goodbye. That's all.
Okay, let's all wave bye. Bye, stream.
Salty Army is legion in every region.
We live in a world where many people are influenced. They listen to demons constantly. That's what's influencing them. They don't even understand. They think it's their own mind and their own thoughts, but they don't understand that there's demons speaking to them and leading everything they do. That's why the only way to break free is to follow Jesus. Because the whole world is in this spiritual evil darkness. And they're constantly being influenced by forces that they don't see.
I have this reoccurring dream, I'm on a battleground. With bullets whizzing by my head, the bombs are all around. I'm trying to fight the enemy, but they're invisible. invisible. No place to run and hide, extremely inhospitable. A barren land that's treacherous and perilous. Malicious feelings all around me that are merciless. It's a hazardous environment that's sinister. I feel like Jonah in the whale, like I'm a prisoner. And just like him, my weapons are not physical. My arsenal consists of powers that are spiritual. I got a sling and stone to face all of my giants. Even if I'm all alone, trapped in a den of lions, I can count on God to get me out of anything. I can trust His word over absolutely everything. No matter what the battle is, He is more powerful. Shatter any obstacles thought to be impossible. He can humble nations who think they are infallible. Crumble city walls like in the days of Jericho. You want a fighting chance? Then dig into the biblical. This battle's for your own eternal soul, and the time is getting critical. Sometimes life is just like on the movie screen.